Hello, my name is Jacob Cushion, and this is Haylie Rogenbuck, and this is the Couch Cushion podcast. The goal of today's episode is to talk about Haylie and her experience with rental real estate. So we're going to go over how she got into it, some of her experiences, what are her goals, and then also what she would recommend to people looking to get into real estate. So with all that being said, Haylie, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, my name is Haylie Jean Rogenbuck. I'm 24. I'm from Spokane, Washington, born and raised. I recently graduated in March 2019 with my MBA from Eastern Washington University. When I first started college, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and then I realized I didn't once I got in the classroom. So I switched to business. And ever since then, I got my undergrad in business management, and then I got my master's in business. And now I'm currently managing 5 properties, and we own them. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Wow, that's awesome. So you said you have 5 properties. Tell me how you got started in the real estate adventure.
Okay, well, when I was 16, before I was 16, my parents told me I had to make a life plan before I could get my driver's license. So I did that. I wanted to buy rentals at a young age because they have many properties in the Spokane area, and that's all I've seen, growing up. And it's pretty awesome because, my mom got to stay home with me when I was younger, and that was due to real estate. So anyway, I made a life plan, including buying my first property before I was like 18. So long story short, I got my license because I made my plan, and then I bought my first property when I was 17. It was a $25,000 property, small little piece of poop on land, but I had $10,000 saved, and my parents lent me the rest of that, and I worked at a restaurant for that next year and paid them off. They charged me a very high percentage interest rate, which was a great learning experience because now I totally understand interest. So that was the first place. The second place, I was 18, and it was a seller financed property. I put $2,000 down, and the owner carried the rest of the loan for like $28,000 over the next 6 years, and I actually just paid that one off a couple years ago, so that's cool. So I own 2 of them outright. The next 2 places, they're all...
Can I stop you there for a second?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so congrats for getting that paid off.
Thank you.
Can you explain what a seller contract is?
Yeah, basically, instead of going to a bank and saying, hey, I want to borrow some money to buy a house, the seller, I guess, was the bank. And so basically they lent me $28,000 over 6 years at 3% interest, and I made my mortgage payment essentially to them for those 6 years. And once that was over, the place was mine, and I owned it outright.
Wow, that's great.
So, does that help?
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Cool.
So tell me about your third place then.
Third one, they were all small little turds because we call them polishing a turd. They're all small places on land that are what?
No, all in Spokane area?
Yeah, sorry, all in Spokane. Anyway, basically, for this third one, I paid cash and I borrowed money from a private lender, and I'm still paying that one off. I have like 2 more years left, and then my fourth property, again, same situation, private money, and the fifth one, well, actually, we just bought a duplex 6 months ago, and so we're living in half, and we're renting out half, which is pretty cool. House hacking. Thank you, Brandon Turner and Bigger Pockets and David Green. And basically, our mortgage payment each month is like $14.50, and our rent is $14.30. So we're paying, $20 to live. Obviously, there's other expenses, but that's pretty cool. And so when we move out in 6 months or so, we're going to do the exact same thing again, and then this place will be cash flowing. So
wow.
Boom.
So have all the places been similar, like your experiences with buying them and the upkeep and getting them ready to rent, or how have they been similar and different?
Well, okay, briefly, my first property, there wasn't that much to be done. We just had to, and I say we because it's kind of a family business, and when I was younger, my parents obviously helped out a lot. And so we basically went in there and painted, put new flooring, and that's really all. I've had a great experience with my first place. I have great tenants. I make money on them each month. You know, they pay on time. They're all pretty similar to that. Maybe some of them I had to put a little more money in fix-up costs. So all 4 of my little houses, same situation. Now this duplex, we have done a lot of work on it. We bought it and essentially had to gut half of it, like one half that we're living in, and redo it, paint, new floors, new molding, new everything, new kitchen, new bathroom. And now we're finishing the basement, and it's been quite the experience learning how to do all those different things, and we've had a lot of help with, you know, contractors and whatnot. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work for that duplex. Is it worth it throwing in all that money to finish up the side? Like, what's the benefit of doing all that?
Well, it is worth it because we're starting out and it's awesome and we'll make money in the long run. It has been a lot of money, but that's okay because we've built a lot of equity into our house. When we first bought it, it was worth $225,000, and we actually just refinanced from an FHA loan to a conventional loan, and we built $21,000 worth of equity just by adding a little bit, and we're not even done. So once we're done, like remodeling everything, I'm sure it'll be worth at least $50,000 more in equity.
Wow. So you said you refinanced it from an FHA loan to a conventional. Why did you do that? Can you explain the process behind that one?
Sure. Well, so when we bought it, we used an FHA 203K loan. So FHA is like a federally funded loan, and a person can only have one of those in their name as what we did. So we did 3.5% down. So our purchase price, let's just say, was like $220, and 3.5% down of that was $78,000, which was awesome because it's such a low amount of money getting into a house. So it was very doable, I guess. And then we refinanced to conventional because that allows us to buy another FHA loan or get another FHA loan after we've lived in this place for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the changing of loans allows you to get another FHA loan. So since you've already used one, can you get another? Another FHA loan?
Well, yes, because we now no longer have an FHA loan in our name.
Okay.
So now we have a conventional loan in our name, and we're able to get another FHA loan.
Okay. That's pretty exciting. So that kind of leads into the next topic with what are your future goals? So now that you're in a conventional loan, you have the possibility to use another FHA. Like, what's your plan?
Well, our plan is to buy another duplex. So in 6 months, when we've had this place for a year, we're going to buy another duplex and move out of this one, rent out this half, cash flow, and then basically live in the second duplex and rent out the other half and live for free again, house hacking, and essentially do that at least. We can do that at least once every year, because once we refinance from FHA to conventional loan, we can do it again, and you can do it until you have a certain number of loans in your name, I think like 9 or 10, and once we start, building more capital and savings and whatnot, then we are able to do maybe smaller deals, like buy the ones I did when I was younger, buy a smaller house, cash, and then rent it out and just have that one, cash flowing each month.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, we're going to at least do a duplex every single year and then start saving and buying other places and, eventually maybe do an apartment complex or something like that, learning.
Yeah. That sounds...
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
That's cool. So you've mentioned house hacking a couple times, and that is buying a duplex or multifamily and living in one unit and having the renters pay your mortgage for the other half, so it's essentially living for free.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's a great plan and great idea, but how do you find a place that you can do that with?
Well, I use the MLS. My real estate agent set me up on the automatic notifications for any time a multifamily comes up. I get an email and it says new listing, and I look at it and basically, analyze if it's going to be good or not.
Okay, so you just check out the place, and what do you look for in the place to see if it's something that you'd want to buy?
Well, my current plan now is I look for a place that, it's, well, at least with the current duplex that we did, we had an upstairs that was finished, another upstairs that was finished, and the basements were unfinished. And we were able to, force that equity by finishing the basement. So I would like to do something like that. And then, when we refinance, we could maybe even do like a cash out refi and pull out the money, like the Burr strategy.
Can you explain that?
It's it's buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Just had to think there for a second. So basically buy a house that needs some work, rehab it. I don't know. Let's just say we buy a house for $200,000, spend $50,000 fixing it up, and then rent it out, and then you refinance it. And as long as it's more than the money you put into it, you pull out your money essentially, and you'll have 20%. You just have to have at least 80%
loan to value.
Loan to value. Thank you, LTV. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically you put in a bunch of money into this house. So you put in that down payment and the rehab costs, and then you refinance it out and get your money back, plus you gain equity in the house.
Yep.
So essentially you're recycling your money and getting new places that have obviously mortgages, but you can rent them out and get some cash flow from that.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. That's a pretty good deal. So that seems like a really good strategy. And to keep this short, I'm going to ask you, what are some recommendations for people looking to get in to real estate, or are already in real estate but are looking for some different tips or different ideas? What recommendations would you have for them?
I think to stick to, if you're like brand new and you don't own a place, I would say do the house hacking strategy. It's pretty simple, and you have a place to live. Buy a duplex, buy a triplex, fourplex, even a single family home, and either rent out rooms or rent out the other units and make your mortgage payment as close to zero as possible. Because you can do it with single family too, according to other people. Mm-hmm. You can, Airbnb out rooms, you can rent out the rooms, and it helps pay your mortgage.
That seems really hard to do. So why can anyone do it?
Well, if you can buy a house, you can buy a multifamily house and do it. I mean...
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. Switching from interviewer to answering that question.
Yes, please do.
It's very overwhelming getting into property and not really knowing, but the biggest expense in most households is mortgage payments. And so if you have assistance from either your tenant or roommates to make that payment, that makes it really easy. And so that helps the burden of that payment that you have each month. And so I think it's a really good strategy. And if we can do it, I think anyone can do it. And so I'd highly recommend looking into it. And everyone always says, oh, I can't do it. You guys are different. You have these circumstances. But in reality, we're all human, and we all have choices that we want to make and can't make. And so I think this would be a great choice for financial freedom shortly.
True.
Nearer in the future than if you didn't do that. So
yeah.
So those are my main questions that I had for you today. Thanks for the interview. Thanks for being the first guest / host on the Couch Cushion podcast. Everyone, thanks for listening. Let us know if you have any questions or comments or suggestions. It was a fun experience, and we hope you guys at least got a thing or two from this. So thank you, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you.